Hey Youngs Grove, welcome to another edition of Fraction Friday. It's another beautiful Friday outside. It feels good, so I hope you can get out there and get some exercise and have some fun today. So today we're going to talk about ordering fractions and putting fractions in order from least to greatest. So let's get started. The vocabulary words we're going to need to know for this lesson are least and greatest. Least means smallest and greatest means biggest. So what we want to do is put our fractions in order from least, the smallest, to greatest, the biggest. So the fractions we want to do this with are 1/5, 1/3, 1/2, 1/4, and 1/6. Now, what most people tend to do is they look at the denominator, the bottom number, and they say, oh, 2 is the smallest number, so half must be the smallest. And then they keep going in that order. Well, then 3, 4, 5, and 6. So least to greatest must be 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, 1/5, and 1/6. But this is a misconception. A misconception means a view that is wrong because you're using what you know about whole numbers. Now, one thing you got to remember is that fractions are division. So we're going to look at some models to help us visually see the size of the fractions. Now, as you can see, when we have half, what we're doing is splitting something into two equal parts because you're only having to share with two people. So let's pretend that these are pies, okay? And you have an apple pie and it's just you and a friend. Y'all are both going to get some pretty big pieces. But the more friends you invite over, the more you have to divide that pie. So the smaller the piece gets. So when you're looking at our models, you can see that half is really the greatest fraction and 1/6 is really the smallest fraction. Because when you have to share with 6 people, your piece gets a lot smaller. So the correct way to put this in order from least to greatest would be 1/6, 1/5, 1/4, 1/3, and 1/2. 1/6 is the smallest, is the least, and 1/2 is the greatest. I hope you've learned a lot during this lesson. One of the big things to remember is that fractions are division. So the more people you have to share something with, the smaller the size. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and enjoy your weekend.